Welcome, everyone. We are so excited to be here today with JJ Veganowledge as our guest. And let me do a brief introduction before we dive into our interview. JJ Veganowledge is a raw-inspired vegan mindset coach, educator, content creator, and author of How I Went from S.A.D to G.L.A.D, my simple four-step blueprint to transform your health, weight, and mindset to finally reach your goals with joy and ease. After losing 55 pounds, reversing 18 years of chronic back pain, and eliminating seasonal allergies, JJ transformed her life with a raw vegan lifestyle. And she blends the power of real food, mindset, and behavior change using her background in psychology. Now, JJ focuses especially on helping women over 40 feel like themselves again, tackling stubborn weight, low energy, mood swings, hormonal shifts, using the power of a high raw inspired diet and simple lifestyle habits. She helps raw, curious beginners simplify their journey, reconnect to their why, and shift into lasting habits that feel good. With punny humor, uplifting energy, and real life foods, JJ shows women over 40 and anyone feeling stuck how to make plant-based living fun, freeing, and doable. So very cool. So welcome, JJ. We're so glad to have you here.
I'm so glad to be here. Thank you for reading my bio. I always like, oh yeah, that is me. I think everybody has that look on their face when they do that, like when you hear everything listed out at once, right?
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you. I
And
appreciate all that.
I'll start with the first question, and then Mariquita, feel free, like if as we're conversing, you have other questions that seem to follow, feel free to jump in. I mean, we should just quickly introduce our two hosts here. Mariquita, do you want to do a brief self-introduction?
Sure, I'm Mariquita Solis. I'm the uncaged heart coach, helping men live authentic lives from their heart space, and also a many year vegan.
Yay. And I'm also vegan and a psychologist, a psychology educator and consultant, and also an author of the book, The Vegan Transformation, A Journey to Heal Yourself and the World, about the psychological and spiritual aspects of the vegan lifestyle. So, so you're watching the Empowered Vegans sort of podcast, if you will, or live stream, whatever you want to call it. And today is we're going to be getting some insights from JJ. And JJ, I would love to hear about your vegan journey. And as you're sharing the journey, be sure to include in there, like, as you've been on this journey to become the raw vegan that you are, or high raw vegan, what's helped you to be empowered along the way? Because it's not always easy shifting lifestyle. So if you don't mind sharing.
Yes, thank you. I just am really appreciative of you guys having me on. I loved your show here and everything. I watched the episode last week and I learned about all of this. Oh, and I love your book too, of course. And I love what you do, Mariquita. You guys are amazing. So in April of 2019, I came across just a little recording. I guess it was like a YouTube documentary, and that actually shifted my thoughts a little bit from everything I had ever learned. Like I saw people healing with fresh, whole, raw foods, and I started this silly little, what I thought then, 3-day experiment. I was going to try to have salads for 3 days and get rid of all the other stuff in my diet, and it was just to lose weight. And as I progressed into Oops, you can't hear that in the background, right? No, okay. As I progressed into my journey and got involved in vegan communities and things like that, needless to say, it didn't last 3 days. It kept going, and as you mentioned in the bio, I lost 55 pounds, eliminated chronic pain, seasonal allergies, and just really felt so good and really like energetic. And I was just immersed in the lifestyle. So I started joining Facebook groups. I started reading other people's stories and listening to their journeys and finding all kinds of amazing vegan educators like you and Mariquita that were already doing this for many years. And it really like started to resonate with me that around 6 months in, I started shifting my thought from this being a diet that I was, this miracle that happened where all these, ailments I had went away, but it started to become deeper. And the principles of veganism started becoming clear that animals were not food, which was a big shift in my mind. And I think as much as I wanted to tell everybody else about their health and they could, heal themselves potentially like I did, it even became deeper for me to share the vegan philosophies because I didn't know this for 42 years, and all of a sudden I'm like seeing the world in a completely different way. I'm seeing us exploiting animals, and like you said, I started to absorb myself in that. And of course, I think we all go through this. I became angry for a minute, like, oh, what is happening? People need to know this. And then what empowered me, I feel like, was I created a word, I guess, called Veganowledge. It's vegan and knowledge, but put it all together and thought, I'm like a teacher at heart. I wanted to be a teacher when I was young, and even though my entire career didn't go that way, I still love teaching and educating. And this plays right into being a content creator. And I thought this can be my little part of the world where I can share about veganism, but not in a way that makes people feel judged or unempowered on their own. But it's kind of like became my life's mission to figure out how to bring this to other people without being judgmental, but understanding where they are. And I love, how your book talks about this because I was able to see that in my own journey. Like we go through these phases and we just want to tell everybody the first thing we come out of our mouth, but then we realize there has to be a way to meet in the middle. And I think each of us has our own way of being empowered. And for me, that was writing my book, telling my story, and helping, helping women that are coming into the lifestyle like me. And I think that's why I kind of pivoted a little bit this year to women over 40, because I thought back and said, I didn't just see something. There are many of us that come into veganism by watching a documentary about animal rights. And it didn't happen for me that way. It came in as a lifestyle change, and I started learning about nutrition and holistic health and combining that with, how can I help women with their mindset as it relates to food? And then somewhere along the way, maybe that shift can happen as I gently educate them on the power of plant-based food and then start to shift what their actual definition of food is. When it becomes something that we don't need meat, it becomes easier to connect the dots in your mind that that I'm eating an animal, and that was hard for me to say for a while because it's like, seeing the world doing that, it would be so hard if I wasn't empowered. I almost feel like I have to create content. And I see some people doing it in their own way. Their way of being empowered is just going to the store and not supporting the meat and dairy industry. Others like to sing or even, write songs about it, or some like to share other, podcasts out, which is so amazing when we're all sharing each other's things. But either way, there is a way, I think for me, what it being empowered means is finding a way to be comfortable in your vegan journey, to bring positivity and happiness to your life. It makes me happy to educate others. It makes me happy to help transform their mind in a way that's also being nice to people, because that's just not my, I'm a little bit got a lot of sense of humor. So, like I like to do it in a gentle way. And that's how I feel empowered, by making people feel comfortable around me, comfortable to talk about it and ask questions, and really just share my own journey. That was a long answer. But that's,
I like, yeah, and well, I love what you use humor and I mean, that's so necessary. We don't laugh enough, and sometimes we just get so fixated on being right about things and not letting things roll off of us. So that's a great element that you're bringing to your sharing the message.
Thank you. It really helps when I am sharing corn, so I can be corny.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a, I had to throw one in there, right?
Yeah, I loved a lot of what you shared. Yes, the humor, and then, what you shared about how whatever leads us on the vegan journey, once we're not eating animals and we realize that not only can we survive, we can thrive, and we're probably going to be way better off, in terms of so many of the chronic diseases. And you were, letting go of chronic pain and all of that. I think just then we can, the defenses about learning what happens to animals, that comes down, and we're now willing to see that part of it in a way that maybe our guard was up before, you know?
Hmm.
So I appreciate you naming that part of it, how it's all, I think, interconnected, you know, how we treat animals affects our health, how we, it affects, of course, the animals, it affects the planet. It's all like so interconnected.
And in a lot of ways, it allows that disconnect, to happen because if that, like you said, is in your mind, like if you don't think there's another way to do something, it's
Yeah.
very hard to move away from what you're already doing. So I
Yes.
love when, people share that they're eat what they eat and they share their journey. That's why I love what you're doing here because you're allowing others that might be new to this, that might have just searched for vegan on YouTube. They just heard something and they're hearing our journey and how, or if someone's not feeling empowered right now and they feel like, what can I do to help? Because I think that's what a lot of us struggle with. We see there's a bigger picture and we want to bring to the world something that can like maybe even help one more person, I think, to understand this. And but I think we have to be really careful in some ways like how we do it because it can help or hinder our mission in some cases.
Yeah. Why don't you share a little bit then about, you know, now that it's made such a change in your life, you do a lot to try to help other people. You mentioned content creation and all of that. Can you share some of how your work life has evolved and how you help to empower others on their vegan journeys?
Yes, I have two well, I started with Facebook groups, so that one Veganowledge, and what I try to do is do a mixture of sharing about animals and like just my own, so a lot of it is like kind of like almost blog posts of my own thoughts, which you've seen in Instagram and different social media, and then I share like maybe what I'm eating. I have other people share their food. We do like little fun activities to keep it interesting, like Trivia Tuesday that might give somebody an aha moment about, nutrition and food, or sometimes it's like, where did the word vegan come from? Something like that, and that kind of teaches people in a way that's not threatening. I feel like people might be more apt if they're, and I always say, vegan curious people are welcome because that's really who I'm trying to reach, and people who are trying to change their diet. Those are the people that are usually more ready to hear the message. And then my other group is called Amazing Plants Formers. That's the group I just moved off Facebook onto the school community, SKOOL. So it's like kind of a little more private for people who want to not be on social media. And then the Gladiators VIP program is something I just started for women over 40 specifically that just want to like have live coaching with people in their same, age range and both learning about plant-based foods and how to, kind of giving them meal plans and things that, the daily habits I found are so important for keeping us well too, like sunlight. I have like a daily health checklist. It has, sunlight, hydration, like all the things that play a part of this too. So those are some things, that I'm doing. And I sent you, I think with this, there's a free 3-day like reset meal plan
Oh, okay,
and my
great.
audiobook so that your listeners have something special from me today too.
Okay. We'll put that in the show notes or the description underneath.
I just
So,
really want people to feel comfortable, asking someone questions that they're not going to offend someone because sometimes it's difficult if you want to learn something and people are very closed off. So I just want to be open. I like explaining things from my perspective of, hey, I didn't know this, now I do, so I want to share it with you instead of like you need to do this. And the GLAD blueprint talks more about mindset, like, the actions and the discipline and like the learning that I like to share with people and celebrating their wins. One plant-based meal this week is moving you closer to knowing you can do it. And we're a work in progress. So if that's all you can give right now, celebrating that is better than telling someone you only did this or you only did that. I'm proud of people for just stepping out of their comfort zone. And we all went through this in layers and levels. You know, for me, for 6 months, it was a diet. So if that part didn't resonate with me, it's not like I can change everything about everyone in the time frame that it happens for others.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's really, I really like what I'm hearing because it's acceptance that this is not a linear journey. And a lot of people don't understand that and they want people to change right away. And you're very careful about understanding that and how you communicate in a way that's non-threatening to others.
Yeah.
It's
So, I mean, a lot of wisdom here.
Yeah. Yeah, I love how, you shared inviting people in and sharing like I once thought that way too, or I once did that too. I think sometimes what happens when we become vegan is we almost forget that we had a time we weren't and that we didn't know certain things and that we were kind of conditioned also and blocked off from this also. It's like we've made the transition, so we expect everyone to immediately transition with us. And I think like finally it's sunk into me like all the years of cultural conditioning and then the fact that also the majority of people are living by that cultural conditioning around us, it creates a big barrier that we have to overcome when we're on this journey. I mean, once we do, it's amazing and wonderful on so many levels. We're living aligned with our values, we're taking better care of our health, we're kinder to the planet, we're kinder to animals, it becomes the only way to live, you just feel so at peace with it. But before that, there's all these things we have to undo and all these false messages we've received. And so I love how you invite them in, realizing, I didn't always know this either. And I'm inviting them in to what I've now learned. And my example can inspire them to know what's possible that they might not have known before.
And I think it gets hard the more you've seen in this because it's so way of differently seeing the world. It's so hard because you almost have to really remind yourself of that daily because you can even in the same day see something online and get almost angry, right? Like,
Yeah.
oh, but we have urgency here because there's so many animals being harmed every day and then so unfair of the dairy industry and meat. And so it's like you have to remind yourself, though, that this is a layer that we're unfolding and look at how far we've come. Now there's at least plant-based options like never before. So people are starting to make those connections. We just really have to, continue to, I think, educate is the most important thing. And we're at a beginning point where people are starting to realize what is in their food. We just haven't gotten to the point of where the food came from yet. So hopefully we will continue to move there. And like you said, that's the way that I keep myself empowered is by whenever I feel that way, I put something out that's kind and that can help transition people to understanding our lifestyle.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's really amazing. I mean, sometimes we wish it would move faster, but I've kind of come to realize there's only so much I have control over. I can only just show up each day with the piece of the puzzle that I can contribute and just keep showing up because it matters, even though sometimes it's discouraging or it's not always easy when things don't go as fast as we'd like. Um, Mariquita, do you have any final thoughts or questions, to ask JJ or?
Well, I do have one question. Like a lot of vegans can't sleep in peace at night. How do you, if you do, how do you sleep in peace at night, knowing that the world isn't going according to the way most vegans would like it to go?
Yeah, I just think that for me, I have those moments, but I just continue to remember that this whole lifestyle is based around compassion and about loving animals. And we have to look at ourselves as the human animal. We have to continue to show ourselves self-love, continue to do the things that keep us, energetic and keep us in, whether it's meditation for some people, for me, I love sometimes just going to the beach, no matter the weather, and just kind of allowing yourself that release to know that you are making a change and continue to do what you're doing, even, if you have to take a moment away from it. I think it's so important that we all continue on this mission with shows like this and the things that we do in our writing and our, putting our thoughts out there and loving other humans as much as we love animals and trying to help them gently move to this lifestyle. I mean, it just always comes back to why I don't feel like I could not have, write or share. And some people may not feel that way, but for me, that's how I deal with it, is trying to say, like, I love the way you put it too, where I'm just doing my little piece here, my little portion we can only do, because we want to do everything. Sometimes I'll sit there and be like, how can we change the government rules around food? And I'm like, okay, slow down, JJ. Let's just go make your 15-minute creation of content right now. We can't change the world all at once.
And, different people are bringing their gifts in that way. You know what I mean? So we
Yes.
each bring our gifts and have the little circle of influence that we have.
And it all
So
adds up, right?
it does. Well, how can people reach you, JJ? How can they connect with you?
So there's all of my information. I've now like have it packaged on gladblueprint.com. And that I don't know yet if I have my social media links, but that has all of my clubs. I'm going to be adding that on here in the next little bit. It's kind of a newer website, but it has kind of a little bit about my story. It has my book. It has all the different free salad ingredient thing I offer, and my like free raw vegan guide, beginner guides, and all of the free veganer, I did call it that, but it's basically beginner vegan resources and everything there. And then I also am going to be adding later today, so you can find it on Glad Blueprint, but I also sent you the link to the 3-day meal plan that I just made, and I included my audiobook for free in there for anybody who doesn't really have a chance to read like they would like to and just want to listen to it while they're doing their daily activities.
Awesome. I will put all of that in the notes underneath this video, so people can access it. And oh, any final thoughts, JJ, before we wrap up? Anything you want to mention that we didn't get to?
Just thank you to everyone watching this who is interested in veganism, or if you're already vegan, I'm so proud of you. And I thank both of you ladies for everything you do. You've both been huge inspirations to me. So thanks for having me on here.
Well, thank you so much, JJ. It was great
Thank
to
you.
to talk with you, and you are an inspiration to me. And you bring so much positive energy.
That's what I love about both of you, right? We got to keep that positive energy flowing.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, thanks so much, y'all.
Yeah, well, thank
Thank
you.
you.
So, talk to you all soon. Bye bye.
Okay, bye-bye.